Johnny G here early. All right, Joe, you said it. I'm going to start early. You said it, Joe. We're going to start early. Here we go. As we kick off July 16th, 2022. Well, hello everybody and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G, John Galindo, coming to you live each and every Saturday only here on YouTube. Want to welcome you to the July 16th, 2022 50s and early 60s edition of the Vinyl Treasure Show. You can join me. We are here from 9 to midnight spinning original vinyl 45s out of my collection. We play the music chronologically here. We opened up with an instrumental, as we always do, for listener Kenny Mack. This group is out of Philadelphia, led by lead guitarist Frank Virtuoso, a.k.a. Frank Virtue. Started back in 1947 as the Frank Virtuoso Trio. Then in 1956, he became Frank Virtuoso and the Virtues, with releases on the local Philadelphia labels Rhythm, Tonecraft, BVD. I think Time is another one that I have for one on by that he does. And in 58, they became the Virtues and recorded for the Shure label. And you may know their tune, Guitar Boogie Shuffle, was picked up by Hunt Records to distribute nationally. A big hit for the group. Top 5, I think. And Kenny Mack requested a B-side to their second release, their second of 5 on the Hunt label. That's The Virtues there from May 1959 on the Hunt label, shuffling along as we're going to shuffle along. And blame Joe Shacatano in the YouTube chat room as I went on about 3 minutes early or so, but I could have gone on a little earlier. But anyway, got lots of records, lots of requests, some flip sides here. Let's open up the vocal portion here with a flip side from last week. This group is out of Harlem, New York. Rick in Philly requested the B-side of their debut single. The song was called I Want to Know. Now, it was listener Daryl Letts requested the A-side as we open up the vocal portion here. It's on Danny Robinson's Holiday record label. It features Johnny Jackson on lead. This is going out to Daryl Letts, December 1957. These are the Ladders. The Ladders on the Holiday record label. It's called Counting the Stars.
Man met bow, yeah, pom.
Counting the stars, they are shining so fine in the blue. Believe me, darling, I love you. Look at the moon
As going out to Daryl Letts in our YouTube chat room, December 57. We open up the vocal portion there with the Ladders on the Holiday record label. Johnny Jackson on lead, a song I used to hear on Oldies Radio here in New York City. Counting the Stars is the name of the tune. That tune written by Les Cooper. And they followed this up on the Vest label in 58 with My Love Is Gone Back with Hey Pretty Baby, a great two-sided 45 on the Vest label. Let's continue here. Now on the June 25th, 2022 Vinyl Treasure Show, I played a request for Daniel Kubacki. He requested The Willows. The Willows out of Harlem, New York, their second release on Morty Craft's Melba label. The song called My Angel. And been holding the flip side in the box for quite a while here. So, but we're going to give it a spin before it goes back down in the no humidity basement. And this was their follow-up to Church Bells May Ring. It features Tony Middleton on lead. These are the Willows from June 1956 on the Melba label. We go up-tempo. It's called Do You Love Me?
Well, do you love me, love me, love me, love me, love me?
Ba-bum, ba-bum, bum.
Do you love me, love me, love me, love me, love me?
Ba-bum, ba-bum, bum.
Oh, 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 do you love me? Do you really love me? Like you should. Do you care? Do you even care for me? Do you even want me like I want you to? Do you love me? Do you really love me? Do you even want me to be your man? Do you love me? Do you really care for me? Do you even want me like I want you to? You know there is no love like mine around, my dear. So I want you to be mine. Well, do you love, do you love, do you love, do you love me? Do you really love me like I want you to? Do you love me? Do you really love me? Do you even care for me like I want you to? Do you love me, love me, love me, love me, love me?
Ba-bum, ba-bum, bum.
Do you love me, love me, love me, love me, love me?
Ba-bum, ba-bum, bum, 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 ba-ba-da-ba-dum.
Do you love me?
That's Tony Middleton and the Willows, their June 1956 release on the Melba record label. Do You Love Me, their second of three on Melba Records. Those of you that are new to the Vinyl Treasure Show, you want to make requests in the YouTube chat room, you're all welcome to make requests there, but Johnny G cannot play those. I cannot instantly play those requests. Not on the night of the show. I got to pull the records out, so you got to let me know in advance. So you can send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. So you can say, Johnny G, can you play Church Bells May Ring? I can play all the Willows. I have all the Willows, even going back to the 5 Willows. But send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com, or let Charlene know in the chat room what you want to hear. And if I have it, I will spin it as we continue here. And here's a request coming up as we count down the music chronologically here on the 50s edition. It's an early side requested by Daniel Kubacki in our YouTube chat room, as this was the first one of the first Detroit supergroups, or should I say the first supergroup to come out of Detroit. That's a better way to say it. Discovered at the time by King Federal talent scout Johnny Otis, who brought them to Federal Records and wrote their debut single. I'm sure many of you know their debut single, Every Beat of My Heart. Became a big hit for Gladys Knight and the Pips, but first done by this group. Now, Daniel Did I say Daryl? It's Daniel. Daniel requested their fourth release on Sid Nathan's Federal record label, mainly featuring the great lead of Charles Sutton with help from Henry Booth. Let's go back to September 1952 here. These are the Royals on the Federal label by request for Daniel. It's called A Love in My Heart.
I've missed you so since we've been apart. I'm beginning to start. Oh, I've needed you so since that time ago. I'm beginning to know. I've got that feeling in my heart that we could live not apart. Love's flame is dying out. Please come back and kindle the spark. Still I know that we should never be apart. I'm beginning to start. I've got that feeling in my heart. Yes, that we could live not far apart. Love's flame was dying out. Please come back and kindle the spark. Still I know that we should never be apart. I'm beginning to start.
That's the sound of the Royals here on the Vinyl Treasure Show by request for Daniel Kubacki, A Love in My Heart there, the Royals' September 1952 release. Sid Nathan's Federal record label. Now, 1953, Hank Ballard would join the group to replace Lawson Smith, who left for the Army. And with their 10th release, they changed their name to the Midnighters. And I think the real reason about that is because Sid Nathan was planning to steal the Five Royales away from the Apollo record label. In addition to their 10th single, that 10th single, Work With Me Annie, was released as both the Royals and the Midnighters. I think the one I have says, one is the Midnighters, previously the Royals, and then I have it as the Royals. It looks pretty cool, but two copies of that. What are you going to do? Anyway, as we continue here. Now, Rick in Philly just posted something in the YouTube chat room that Don K. Reed passed away today. That's shocking, really. I mean, I used to listen to Don K. Reed here in New York on WCBS FM 101. That is very sad news if that is true. But anyway, I would think it is if Rick saw the posting there. And where's Tom Goodell's email? don't know, Tommy. Send me an email. But that is sad news, really, to hear that. But let's continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. This next singer, he was born in Albany, Georgia, but he was raised in Greenville, Florida. He was partially blind at age 5, then by age 7, completely blind due to glaucoma, but he studied classical piano and the clarinet at the State School of the Deaf and Blind Children from 1937 to 1945. Now, he first recorded for the Downbeat label back in 1949. I actually have a couple of 78s on the Downbeat label. And then Downbeat, I think, became Swingtime Records, so he's got some releases on Swingtime. But he signed with Atlantic in 1952. He had 28 releases between 1952 and 1960. Now, listener Jerry Nazen, he said, Johnny G, can you play me a Ray Charles 45? I said, okay, what is the song? It's his fifth release for Atlantic. It was a big number 5 R&B hit for him. This came out in February 54. I wanted to put this under the toothbrush. You know, you can, with a toothbrush, if you get some of these, this was in a jukebox, so it's got some surface noise, but I know it'll sound better if I put the toothbrush to it, but I didn't get a chance, so excuse the surface noise. But this is going out to Jerry Nays in February 54. Ray Charles on the Yellow Atlantic label. It's called It Should've Been Me. It's for Jerry.
As I passed by a real fine hotel, a chick walked out. She sure looked swell. I gave the eye and started to carry on. When a Cadillac cruised up and swished, she was gone. It should have been me with that real fine chick. It should have been me with that real fine chick. Hey, 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 driving that Cadillac. A little later on, a theater I passed, I spotted another chick, and did she have class. I was all set to write her name in my book when her husband came up and gave me a real dirty look. It should have been me with that real fine chick. It should have been me with that real fine chick. It should have been me to have been her chaperone. When I got to the corner, I saw a sharp cat with a $300 suit on and a $100 hat. He was standing on the sidewalk by a diner floor when a voice within said, "Come on, Daddy, let's go." It should have been me with that real fine chick. It should have been me with that real fine chick. Hey, 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 driving that diner floor. I ate a bowl of chili, and I felt okay, at least until I passed this fine cafe. I saw a guy eating a great big steak, while a waitress stood by feeding him ice cream and cake. It should have been me with that real fine chick. It should have been me with that real fine chick. You know it should have been me eating ice cream and cake. It should have been me getting my natural kick. It should have been me getting my natural kicks. Hey, 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 loving those crazy chicks.
That's Ray Charles there. Ray Charles is on the Atlantic record label. That, what did I say it was? That is his fifth release on the Atlantic. No, what did I say here? I wrote that down here as Johnny G draws a blank. That's February 54. Ray Charles on the Atlantic label. That's going out to Jerry Nays, and It Should Have Been Me is the name of that tune. We continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Let's go back to a Sid Nathan label. This time King Records as we fill a request for listener Nick Nicola. He's in our YouTube chat room, and no one really knows anything about this group, but they did 2 for the King label. This is their second, and they're really hard to find on a 45. I even have them on a 78. I think actually I have 2 78s that were played up at WFUV, and they are original time capsule originals. But this is on a 45. I was lucky to win this on an eBay auction about 20 years ago or so. But this is by request for Nick Nicola. These are the Orchids from September 1953. This is on King Records. The Orchids with their tune called "I've Been a Fool from the Start." This is for Nick.
I've been a fool. I'm not so smart. You played it cool. Yes, right from the start. Oh yes, you took my heart. Once summer day said that our love was here to stay. But when I come a-calling, oh, you never come. Oh, you sleep all day and night play. I can never even get you on the phone with tears in my eyes. And love from the start, I was a fool to give you my heart.
But when I come a-calling, you're never at home. You sleep all day and work all night. You never even get you on the phone with tears in my eyes. And love from the start, I was a fool to give you my heart.
Those are the Orchids there. The Orchids on the King record label. That's their second of 2 on King. From September 1953, that's going out to Nick Nicola. Song entitled "I've Been a Fool from the Start." If you're new to the Vinyl Treasure Show and you're finding out about the program, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. That is the best way to know when Johnny G is going live. If you click the bell to get notifications, you will receive an email when Johnny G is live. I haven't done a spontaneous show yet, but I have enough records to do that. So you have to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also please click thumbs up. Very important for YouTube to find out how much you enjoy the Vinyl Treasure Show. Let's continue here now. Up next, a request for listener Daniel Kubacki. This group formed at Jordan High School in Southeast LA. They signed with Sid Nathan's Federal label in 1953. They had 12 releases. This is their fourth, a tune written by Rudy Toombs. It features Thurston Harris on lead. This is going out to Daniel Kubacki, April 1954. These are the Lamplighters on the Federal label. It's called "I Used to Cry Mercy, Mercy" for Daniel.
Papa said I wouldn't be weeping and talking out of my head. Mercy, 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 mercy. I used to cry mercy, mercy, but how mercy, mercy won't do. Mercy, 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 mercy. I don't need no mercy. Mercy, mercy, mercy. Used to cry mercy, but no more, baby. I don't need no mercy. Don't want no mercy. Mercy don't mean a thing now, baby.
That's a cool jump there by the Lamplighters by request for Daniel Kubacki, April 54 release on the Federal record label. I Used to Cry Mercy, Mercy. You're going to play the flip side for Marvin Pod next week, so stay tuned to that. Now, you know, the interesting thing here about this group, they have a very interesting evolution between the years 1953 to 1962, and they had many and various personnel changes through that time period, but they recorded under a various different type of identities, starting with, of course, the Lamplighters, then the Tenderfoots, the Sharps, the Jacks, Frantic Johnny Rogers, the Ebb Tides, the Twisters, the 4 After 5s, the Showstoppers, Dante's Friends, the Crenshaws, and I think finally the Rivingtons. Is there anything else after that? I don't know, but that is a very, very diverse group, or has been through the years, but they started out as the Lamplighters. Let's continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Now, last week I played a request for Nick Nicola, the debut single by this Asbury Park, New Jersey group known as the Vibranaires, and it was the song was called Dollface. Now, listeners Daryl Letts, George Tompkins, and Nick requested the flip side. It comes on red vinyl too. Let's send it out to Daryl, George, and Nick. This is the flip side of Dollface. These are the Vibranaires from July 1954 on the After Hours record label. It's called Ooh, I Feel So Good. The Vibranaires.
Baby, I'm so glad you told me I don't have to cry no more. Well, I'm so glad you told me I don't have to cry no more. Feel so fine since you told me, baby, I don't have to cry no more. Well, it's right back, 'cause tomorrow we may be gone. Well, let's rock 'em back, 'cause tomorrow we may be gone. I'm higher than a Georgia pine, hats on the side of my head. Feel so fine since you told me, baby, I don't have to cry no more. I'll give everybody in the joint a taste of doing charge to me.
Keep the juices flowing this morning.
Give me the check about 3:30. Oh, I feel so good. Oh, I feel so good. Ooh, 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 ooh. A dilly, 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 a dilly. Everybody in the joint takes it to and charge to me.
Keep the juices flowing this morning.
Give me a check about 3:30. Oh, I feel so good. Oh, I feel so good. Ooh, 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 ooh.
That's the sound of the Vibrant Airs there, July 1954 release. That's the flip side to Dollface, song entitled Ooh, I Feel So Good. That came out on the After Hours record label. It's going out to Daryl, George, and Nick. Let's move into 1955 with a request for listener Kenny Mack. This group is from Harlem, New York, first recorded for High Weiss's Old Town record label in November of 1954. You may know the song Tonight, Kathleen. Then they signed with George Goldner's Rama record label for 8 releases. Their first was the popular, at least New York City popular, Lily Maybell, a 45 my amp purchase back in 1955. They followed it up with the song I Love You Darling, but Kenny requested the flip side. It features Richard Barrett on lead. This is from November 1955. It's Jimmy Wright in the orchestra, so Viking Jerome in our YouTube chat room, he likes Jimmy Wright and his orchestra. Well, he's playing on, well, actually, this is the ballad. It's not the up-tempo side, but he's on here. Anyway, this is for Kenny Mack, November 55, the Valentines on the Rama label. It's called Hand Me Down Love. This is for Kenny.
Hand me down love. I don't want no hand me down love. I just want a real kind of love that is mine from the start. Hand me down love. I don't need no hand me down love. I just want a true kind of love that comes straight from your heart. I've been searching and praying that someday I'd find somebody who would adore me and love me. And then I ran into you, just you alone. Got a love that I've never known, like the kind that I'm dreaming of, and not a hand-me-down love. Straight from your heart.
That's the great sound of Richard Barrett and the Valentines. That's going out to Kenny Mack in our YouTube chat room, the Valentines there with Hand Me Down Love, November 1955 release on George Goldner's Rama record label. We stay in 1955. We go out to Los Angeles, California with this request for Timothy, who was in our YouTube chat room, and it's the debut single for this group called the Calvains on Dootsy Williams' Dutone record label. This is the intended A-side of the 45, although I prefer the ballad flip, but I like this side too. It's their first of 2 on the Dutone label. It features Herman Pruitt on lead. This is going out to Timothy, September 55, the Calvains on the Dutone label. It's called Crazy Over You. This is the A-side for Timothy.
Crazy, 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 crazy over you. Crazy, 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 crazy over you.
Crazy, I tell you that I'm crazy, so crazy that I'm hazy, crazy over you.
Crazy, crazy, crazy,
Crazy, without you, I'm crazy, so crazy that I'm hazy, crazy over you.
that you're crazy.
Crazy. I tell you that I'm crazy. So crazy that I'm hazy. Crazy over you.
That you're crazy.
Crazy. I tell you that I'm crazy. So crazy that I'm hazy. Crazy over you. Crazy, 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 crazy over you.
There you go. Whoops. That was a cold ending there on that 45. That's going out to Timothy there, the Calvains. Calvains, September 1955. Dootsy Williams' Doo-Tone record label, the first of two, with Herman Pruitt on lead. Crazy Over You is the name of the tune. Hopefully you're crazy over these 45s every Saturday from 9 to midnight. Right here on YouTube, we'll be joining the Oldies and More Radio Network beginning at midnight tonight, so stick around for that. And we go back to California now with a request for Nick Nicola. This is on Eddie and Leo Mesner's Aladdin record label. The group is called the Viceroys, and I didn't have any information on this group, but it's a female lead, at least on this side, a female lead with male backing. But this was reviewed in the February 5th 1955 edition of Billboard magazine. So they said the group blends well in this slow blues ballad as the lead voice pledges constant love. And that's what they rated it in the Billboard magazine. So this is going out to Nick Nicola from January 55, the Viceroys on Aladdin. It's called I'm Yours As Long As I Live. This is for Nick.
As long as I live,
all my heart, all my love to you, ooh, I give. I'm yours as long as I live. can't you see, baby? You're gonna be there for me. Till yes, as long as I live.
As going out to Nick Nicola there, those are the Viceroys. Viceroys out of California, I'm guessing, yeah. January 1955 on the Aladdin record label. I'm Yours As Long As I Live is the name of the tune. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes here. Let's move into 1956. I was teasing you. No, I wasn't teasing you. I was just saying that Chipper mentioned if I had the clef tones with two Fs, and actually I had it up here. Those are records I had to possibly to fit in amongst all your requests, but so stay tuned for those 45s. But anyway, let's continue here. Let's go to let's go to Washington D.C. with this next request for Daniel Kubacki. This group had 22 releases on the Atlantic label. Now on November 11th, 1955, they recorded 3 songs at Capitol Studios in New York City, and all were led by John Buddy Bailey. A pen tune by Blanche Carter. That song was called Devil or Angel. Another one written by Titus Turner, and who would eventually record his own version of that in 61. It was called Hey Doll Baby. And this tune that Daniel requested, written by Paul Winley, and it features John Buddy Bailey on lead. We go back to November 1956 for the Clovers. The Clovers on Atlantic. This is for Daniel. It's called Baby Baby, Oh My Darling.
Baby, 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 oh my darling, I'm so in love with you. Baby, 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 oh my darling, I'm so in love with you. I'm crazy about you, yes, crazy about you, there's nothing I can do. Oh, baby, 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 oh my darling, I'm so in love with you. Baby, 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 oh my darling, you are my one desire. Baby, 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 oh my darling, you are my one desire. And when you kiss me, yes, when you kiss me, you set my soul on fire. Oh, baby, 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 oh my darling, you are my one desire. You got me jumping up and down, acting like a kid. Hey, don't you know I'm walking from a lid? Tell me, little girl, what you gonna do? I just wanna be loved by you. Baby, 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 oh my darling, I'm so in love with you. Baby, 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 oh my darling, I'm so in love with you. I'm crazy about you, yes, crazy about you, there's nothing I can do. Oh, baby, 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 oh my darling, I'm so in love with you. Walk, 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 walk. Up and down, acting like a kid. Hey, don't you know I'm walking with my lid? Tell me, little girl, what you gonna do? I just wanna be thrilled by you. Baby, 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 oh my darling, I'm so in love with you. Baby, 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 oh my darling, I'm so in love with you. I'm crazy about you, yes, crazy about you, there's nothing I can do. Oh, baby, 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 oh my darling, I'm so in love with you. Baby, 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 oh my darling, I'm so in love with you. Baby, 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 oh my darling, I'm so in love with you.
That's the sound of the Clovers by request for Daniel Kubacki. John Buddy Bailey on lead, November 1956, release on the Atlantic record label. Baby, Baby, Oh My Darling is the name of the tune. I actually like that one there by the Clovers. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, here's a request for Joe Shacatano, who is in our YouTube chat room now. This group is from the Washington Heights section of New York City. Now, when the group went into the studio to record this, they spent zero time rehearsing this song. And they only used the piano on the session, and the other instruments were actually dubbed in later on. They were not there. There was only a piano at the time they recorded this. But record dealer and collector Louis Silvani described this record as one of the most sought-after off-key records ever made. And this came out on the Playback, PLA-BAC label. This features Milton Turner on lead, and this is by request for Joe Shacatano, 1956. These are the Packards on Playback Records, and their tune called La Dece. This is for Joe. By request for Joe Shacatano, they're the Packards. The Packards on the Playback record label, 1956 release. Is it La Dece or La Dece? La Dece, I think it's called. And features Milton Turner on lead. Now, this was actually their second release on the Playback label. Their first, which only came out on the 78, was a song called Ding Dong that would later be picked up by High Weiss and put out on his Paradise label as a 45, which I have that 45 also. to. Johnny G here, spinning original vinyl 45, some rare, some not so rare, but hopefully all good, or some new for you listeners out there that are new to the Vinyl Treasure Show. Again, tell your friends about the show and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Very important to do that, as we need to spread the word. Let's continue now. Up next, a request for Mike Sape, who sent in his request real late today, so I had to scramble to look for these couple of 45s. Now, the singer, this singer was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, and he was a disc jockey on WSMB in New Orleans, and his name was Sid Noel Rideau. I think that's how you Rideau, or Rideau, I think. And he was one of 5 stars of DJs that were on the station WSMB, and it was those 5 DJs were Sid Noel, Marshall Pierce, Jim Brown, Scott Muni, and Roy Roberts. They were called the 5 stars on that radio station, and that's why when I showed you this 45 on the Atco label, it said Sid Noel of the 5 stars, because he was one of those guys. And this is a song he co-wrote. This was number 6 on WSMB over in New Orleans, Louisiana. And this is by request for Mike Sape, February 56. Sid Noel of the 5 stars on the Atco label. It's called Humpty Dump for Mike.
Miss Humpty Dumpty so fine, the cats all hand her a line. The way she dances makes my heart thump. A chick that clings to her shade just like the skin on a braid. She's my Humpty Dump. She's got a figure that's neat, her lines so strictly all read. You ought to dig the way those cats jump. I walk a country mile just to linger a while. She's my Humpty Dump. I give her hugging, I give her kissing, I give her everything that's missing. And it's just got to be plain to see. Humpty Dumpty fell for me. She's got a figure that's neat, her lines are strictly all read. You ought to dig the way those cats jump. I walk a country mile just to linger a while. She's my Humpty Dump. I give her hugging, I give her kissing, I give her everything that's missing. And it's just got to be plain to see. Humpty Dumpty fell for me. She's got a figure that's neat, her lines are strictly all read. You ought to dig the way those cats jump. I walk a country mile just to linger a while. She's my Humpty Dump.
That's by request from Mike Sape there. Sid Noel of the 5 stars, February 1956 on the Atco label, the maroon Atco label, called Humpty Dump. I wonder why they didn't put the TY at the end. Maybe they didn't want to, maybe Humpty Dump is the girl versus the TY, versus the TY for the guy. I don't know, but I have another one by him. I collect Aladdin records. He does a label filler on Aladdin. He was also the host of a TV show on WWL-TV in New Orleans called House of Shock. He was called Morgus the Magnificent, and he also had a release in 58. It came out on the Vin label as Morgus and the Ghouls. So check that 45 out for Halloween. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show now, on the June 18th, 2022 show, I played a request for Timothy. This group from Boothwyn, Pennsylvania, they were called the Five Lords. They formed while attending Chester High School, featured the song Ooh La La for Timothy, but Emnon requested the flip side as well, as I think at that show. I think George Tompkins and Nick Nicola also requested the flip. It features Sylvanus Slip Franklin on lead. This is from 1956. This is going out to Emnon and also to Nick and George, the Five Lords on DNS Records. It's called Falling Tears.
When you're away, I am lonely. I miss you night and day. I see your face here before me as I kneel down to pray. I pray for your return and wish that you were here. I need you so, oh my darling, to stop my falling tears. Why don't you write me a letter? It's been a long, long time. Please put some nice words together to ease my wandering mind. Please say you'll be returning. You fill my heart with cheer. My love for you always yearns. Please end my falling tears.
There you go, by request for listener Emnon there. Also going out to Nick and George. Those are the Five Lords. The Five Lords from 1956. It's on the DNS record label, the flip side of Ooh La La, song entitled Falling Tears, as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. And back to the Bronx. Did we go to the Bronx yet? I don't know if we went to the Bronx. But let's go to the Bronx now with this next request for listener Stephen Cargman. This duo had 16 releases between 1956 and 1962 on High Weiss's Old Town label, and Stephen requested their second release. Their names are Robert Carr and Johnny Mitchell. We often feature them here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Now, you know them as Robert and Johnny, and this is on High Weiss's Old Town record label. This one from October 1956, Robert and Johnny, going out to Stephen on the Old Town label. It's called $1 Million Bills for Stephen.
I do. I really, really love you. Baby doll,
As going out to Stephen Cargman there, Robert and Johnny, their second release on the Old Town record label, October 1956. $1 Million Bills is the name of the tune. The first time I had this, Evan, I too found a 78 for a quarter, but then I think it was in, I don't know if I was, whatever was Gold Mine the first one before Discoveries, I forget. Somebody up in the Catskills here in New York, he was selling records that he said he purchased as a kid from when he used to listen to Alan Freed, and that was in there, so I paid $3 for that 45. I was thrilled to get it way back sometime in the 1980s here. Johnny G here on a Saturday evening spinning original vinyl 45s. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes. If you're new to the program, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Very important to do that. Tell your friends to share the video as we continue here for this female quartet from Brooklyn, New York, first recorded for George Gollner's G record label. They were attending, is it New Utrecht, Utrect High School? Does anybody know that high school in New York? And through one of their parents' contact, they were able to sign a deal with G Records. Who knew George Gollner back then? That's pretty interesting. The result was this single, featuring Dorothy Pasqualini on lead, and this is going out to Timothy in our YouTube chat room, so I'm going to send this one out to Timothy. It's from February 1957. They're called the Rosebuds on the G label. It's called Dearest Darling, parentheses, I'm Still in Love with You. This is for Timothy.
Dearest darling,
That's going out to Timothy in our YouTube chat room. The Rosebuds there. In February 57, that's Dorothy Pasqualini. She's the lead singer there. George Goldner's G record label, Dearest Darling, parentheses, I'm Still in Love with You. And they also have 2 releases on George Goldner's Lancer label. One is the Rosebuds, the other as the Esquire Girls. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasures Show. Now, last week, I played the Collegians, a great group out of Harlem, New York. That was for listener Jerry Nays in their first of 3 on Paul Winley's Winley record label. The song was called Zoom, Zoom, Zoom. I think it was Daryl Letts and Lino. I think those are 2 I saw that asked for the flip side, written by group member Roger Hayes and label owner Paul Winley and the lead singer. His name is Harlan Jackson. This is going out to Daryl and Lino, December 57. The Collegians on Winley, the flip side of Zoom, Zoom, Zoom. It's called On Your Merry Way.
You go on your
merry way, not thinking of the lovers who you left astray.
Well, why'd you make me cry? You know the reason why. You went on your merry way. I feel so bad. I feel so sad. If you come back, I'll be so glad. You went on your merry way. You left me broken hearted. You left me by myself. You found somebody new, and I am so blue. Well, you left me by myself, and I don't know what to do. You went on your merry way, your merry way.
As going out to Daryl and Lino, the Collegians. Collegians December 57 release on the Winley record label, On Your Merry Way. Harlan Jackson, the lead singer on that. We stay in 1957 with a request for Ryan Heisey. You made it in time, Ryan, but you also, if you missed it, you could listen on the archive. That's what's so cool about YouTube, although sometimes they've been giving me trouble, but not so much on my 50s show. The 60s show, they drive me crazy. But anyway, when the Dell Vikings were recording for Phoebe Records, they were managed by Pittsburgh WJAS disc jockey Barry Kay, and all the members at the time were in the Air Force. But Alan Strauss, who was legal counsel for the Air Force, took over and worked a deal that the group did not even know, worked a deal with Mercury Records. And so all the members were underage except one of those Dell Vikings, that being Crip Johnson. They all could exit their contract with Phoebe and record for the Mercury label because Mercury gave the guys a better deal, I guess. But Crip Johnson unfortunately had to stay. Well, maybe fortunately, I don't know. But the group would re-record some of their Phoebe sides, and the song that Ryan requested was first released in April of '57, featuring Crip Johnson on lead. on the Phoebe label, but this is the Mercury version that features Norman Wright on lead, and it's a request for Ryan Heisey, September 1957, the Del Vikings Mercury version of this song called When I Come Home. This is for Ryan.
Tell me please, won't you tell me please? Let me know, put my mind at ease. When I come home, will you be waiting? When I come home, must my heart be aching? Will you be there when I come home? Let me know the story. Put me in my glory. When I come home, may God be with me. I'll hope and pray that you hug and kiss me. Will you be there when I come home?
May the angels sing in heaven. May Gabriel know his home. When I'm with you, oh my darling, nothing really wrong.
When I come home, may God be with me. I hope and pray that you hug and kiss me. When you'll be there when I come home. Won't you tell me, please? Let me know, put my mind at ease. When I come home.
As going out to Ryan Heisey in our YouTube chat room, the Del Vikings on the Mercury label, the Mercury version of When I Come Home. That one there, September 1957. Let's go back to Harlem, New York. This is a request for Big Dave Swinger in our YouTube chat. As last week I featured the Jaguars version of this song, Thinking of You, which was a request by Timothy. But Big Dave Swinger, he asked if I had the Ray Pollard and the Wanderers version of this tune. A song written by Harry Ruby and Bert Kalmar, dates back to 1927, but this version released in November of 1957 as we go to Jerry Winston's Onyx record label with Ray Pollard on lead. This is going out to Big Dave Swinger. We'll send it also out to George Tompkins in our YouTube chat room. November 57, the Wanderers on the Onyx label and their rendition of the tune Thinking of You.
Wonder why I'm thinking of you. Oh, why, oh, why, oh, why is it I spend the
When I fall asleep at night, it seems you just tiptoe into all of my dreams. And I think of no other one ever since I've begun thinking of you. Wonder why I'm thinking of you. Oh,
That's a great sound of Ray Pollard and the Wanderers there. That's on Jerry Winston's Onyx record label out of New York City, November 1957. That's by request for Big Dave Swinger. Send it out also to George Tompkins. Let's continue now. We are in 1957, filling a request for listener Jerry Nays, and we go back to Harlem, New York for the 11th release for the Great Cadillacs. They recorded for Jerry Blaine's Josie record label. Now, the group members on this release, for this specific release, was James R. Bailey, Waldo Champion, William Lindsay, and Buddy Spencer. And because the group splintered at one time, where Earl Speedo Carroll went with the original Cadillacs that I played last week, I think. But this tune, written by Esther Navarro and Jesse Powell, of course it's Jesse Powell and the orchestra. This was number 8 on WILY in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We send it out to Jerry Nays in May 57. The Great Cadillacs on the Josie label. The song is called My Girlfriend.
I'm asking you, boom, 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 boom.
Please be my girlfriend. I've been waiting for a long, long time. For that moment I could call you mine. Oh, little girl, say yes.
I tell you,
Yes, yes.
why don't you be my
Girlfriend, please give my heart one little chance, and we can build a sweet romance. I really love you so. I'll be faithful and true. Please let me prove it to you. I love you madly, and I feel this way until eternity. Please be my girlfriend. I want to be your lover, lover boy. Baby doll, please fill my heart with joy. Please say yes.
I tell you,
Yes, yes.
why don't you be my
I'll be faithful and true. Please let me prove it to you. I love you madly, and I feel this way until eternity. Please be my girlfriend. I want to be your lover, lover boy. Baby doll, please fill my heart with joy. Please say yes.
I tell you,
Yes, yes.
why don't you be my
Girlfriend, ooh, girlfriend, ooh, girlfriend, ooh, girlfriend, ooh, girlfriend.
As going out to Jerry Nays and the Cadillacs there, May 1957 release, their 11th release on the Josie label. My Girlfriend is the name of the tune. I used to hear that on New York radio. They played that quite a lot on WCBS FM. Don K. Ree would play it. Unfortunately, I heard that he passed away today. Haven't verified it yet, but Rick and Philly, he let us know in the chat room. That is a sad thing. As we continue here on Vinyl Treasures, up next, a request for Mike Sape as we go to George Goldner's End record label. Now, this singer's real name was Peter Colombo, but he recorded as Pete Morris. And how he gets on N Records, I'll never know. But this is his debut single, a tune written by Vinny Catalano and Peter Scerra. And this is a request from Mike Sape from November 1957. Pete Morris on the End label. It's called When You're Hurt. From Mike.
When you're hurt, I feel so blue. When you're hurt, it hurts me too. Darling, can't you see how much I care? When you're hurt, I cry with you. When you're hurt, I sigh with you. Oh, please realize how much I love you. When things go wrong for you, my dear, nothing's right for me. The heartaches you feel are mine too. That's how it will always be. When you're hurt, I feel the pain. When you're hurt, you know I'll remain here by your side, 'cause I love you. When you're hurt, you know I'll remain here by your side, 'cause I love you.
As by request from Mike Sape there, Pete Morris. Pete Morris from November 1957. That's on George Goldner's End label. When You're Hurt is the name of the tune. He had one more release in 62. He would have one under his original name, Peter Colombo. Came out on the Orchid label, a New York City Orchid record label. We stay in 1957 with a flip side from last week. As, last week, Timothy requested The Planets. The Planets on Lou Bedell's Era record label. The song was called Stand There Mountain. Featured Vince House, a.k.a. Vince Howard, on lead. Of course, he sang bass with the Rhythm Aces on the VJ record label. But George Tompkins asked Johnny G to flip it over. A tune written by Ed Townsend and Vince House, a.k.a. Vince Howard, but it features Bill Stewart on lead on the flip. We go back to April 1957. Give a listen to The Planets on the Era record label, and this song is called Never Again. This is for George.
Never.
Wait. Mess that up. There.
Never again.
Never again will my life be so empty. Never again my life be so lonely? Gone are the days when my heart was lonely and blue. Oh, you came my way and made me love you never again will I find such a heart so true. Never again will I find such love as you. Here is my heart, so take it and say we'll never part. So never again will I have a broken heart. Here is my heart, so take it and say we'll never part. So never again will I have a broken heart.
That's going out to George Tompkins there, The Planets. The Planets with Bill Stewart on lead, April 1957 release on Lou Bedell's Era record label, song entitled Never Again. Now, this song was released earlier on Era 1035. This is Era 1038, but the earlier release, the group was called The Magic Notes, and it had a different flip. The flip on that Magic Notes is The Wrong Door, but this was number 1038, and that one there called Never Again on the second issue. Johnny G here on a Saturday evening. Let's continue here. We move into 1958 with a request for listener Joe Shacatano in our YouTube chat room. This is on Woody Hinderling's Bullseye record label, which is out of New York City. Now, the group is called the Cordells. Now, a few of the sites mention that this group is the same group that recorded for the Bargain label. I don't really think so. I don't think it's the same group for some reason. I just have that feeling it is not. But this group included singer, because that group included singer Jimmy Ellis. But I don't think this is that group. I don't know, unless anybody knows for a fact that it is, but they group it with those Cordells on Bargain, but I don't. Anyway, Ferdy has this group separated as separated from the Cordells / Exceptions. Those are the same two groups, but I think this is a different group. Either way, it's a great tune, and it's by request for Joe Shacatano, November 58, the Cordells on the Bullseye label. It's called Please Don't Go.
Baby, please don't leave me, baby, please don't go, because I go to love you every day, oh, baby, please don't leave me, baby, please don't go, please don't go. Every night I
by request for Joe Shacatano. They like that tune there in the YouTube chat room, the Cordells. Cordells on the Styrene Bullseye record label. At least that press play is pretty nice. November 58, Please Don't Go. Johnny G not going, not yet, not till Vinyltreasure overtime. So stick around here. We're going to join Oldies and More Radio at midnight as we continue now. And we stay in 1958. This is a request for listener Mnon. Now, after the four fellows on the Glory label dissolved, group members Larry Banks, Al Williams, and Pringle Sims, who actually was an ex-member of The Strangers, and Milton Bennett recorded as The Companions. And this was their first release. It came out on the Dove record label. It features Milton Bennett on lead. This is from October 1958. This is going out to Mnon, The Companions on the Dove label. It's called Falling.
Falling, can't help it, dear. I started falling. The moment you came near, all of a sudden, there I was in love with you. Can't you hear me? I am calling. Down on my bended knees I started calling. Please put my heart at ease. I've given my soul to you. Now tell me what else can I do? Walked around with my head in the clouds, but lately, yes, lately I find that no matter what I do, I keep thinking of you, and I just can't keep you out of my mind. Please tell me you're falling. As I have felt for you, my darling, oh my darling, tell me that you love me too, my darling, as I love you. Please tell me that you love me too. Darling, as I love you.
That's a great request by Amnon there. The Companions. Companions from October 1958. That's on the Dove record label. It's called Falling. Milton Bennett, the lead singer on that. The tune written by group member Larry Banks, who would add female singer Bessie White to the group, and she would sing lead on their next release that came out on the Brooks / Federal, we'll call it, also released on Federal labels, song called I Didn't Know. She would also end up marrying Larry, and she would record as Bessie Banks. She had the original version of Go Now in 1964 on Tiger, and then she has other releases. I think she's got a release on, I forget that label that she does, but she was also a very good singer. As we continue here on Vinyltreasures, and we are in 1958 now. Last week I featured the Plants, a group from Baltimore, Maryland. It was listener Robert Castillo. He requested both sides of their debut single on Zell Sanders' J&S record label, so I play both sides, Dear I Swear and It's You. Now, George Tompkins requested the follow-up. This one features George Jackson on lead. This is from May 58. These are the Plants on the J&S record label. This is for George. It's called From Me.
to be sure, my dear. Don't want you to have no fear. 'Cause I love you so, won't ever let you go. From me, I want your every care. Even if you are far or near, for my heart might even stray. Don't you ever go away from me. It may take time to make up my mind, but I'm sure you're the girl for me. 'Cause we made a vow to never part, so darling, stay with my heart. I promise not to make you cry. Now until the day I die. 'Cause I love you so, won't ever let you go. So please, don't go.
That's the great sound of the Plants here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That's by request for George Tompkins, the Plants there. George Jackson on lead, May 1958 release. Zell Sanders J&S record label out of the Bronx, New York. Actually, this might have been a New York address for you collectors out there. The copy that I purchased was from Lou Haggis, and the copy I got from Lou said the Bronx, New York. I think the first presses, though, the early presses of this have New York 59 New York on it, and I tried to go for that, but Don Folletti had it up, I think, a couple of years ago, but it went for too much money. I just couldn't pay that amount of money for it. Gotta say hello to Jimmy Amato and Louis Silvani tuned into the Vinyl Treasure Show. Thank you guys for coming into the YouTube chat room. And speaking of Louis Silvani, I bought this next 45 from Times Square Records and Louis Silvani. As we go to Hiram Johnson's Johnson record label, this is actually a request for listener Kenny Mack. It's a kiddie lead, and not much known about this group, but they're called the Cordovans. The Cordovans. Now, this song was re-released in 1960, but the first issue came out in February of 1958. The song written by group member Alvin Hassel and label owner Hiram Johnson. So this is going out to Kenny in our YouTube chat room, February 58. The Cordovans on the Johnson label. It's called Come On, Baby.
Boom, ba boom, boom, ba boom, boom. Shoot, shoot, ba 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 ba. Shoot, shoot, ba 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 ba. Shoot, shoot, ba 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 ba.
Come on, baby, I love you so. Come on, baby, won't let you go. Come on, baby, I love you so. Come on, baby, I give you love from the
They're called the Quarter Vans. Quarter Vans there from February 1958. That's going out to Kenny Mack in our YouTube chat room. Came out on Hiram Johnson's Johnson record label. Song entitled Come On Baby. Stay tuned for the flip side next week for Nick Nicola. Let's continue now. We are in 1958. Up next, a group out of New Haven, Connecticut. And it's a request for listener Ryan Heisey. Now, this is an unreleased master, and the master was recorded for the Elmont record label, but it was never released until May 1989. But I guess the writer credits on this are Joey Giattino and Kenny Fuchs. They wrote this song. I doubt it, but they definitely pressed the record, that is for sure. But they want to get all the royalty payments, so therefore they press the record. The publishing and the writer credits go to Joey Giattino and Kenny Fuchs, and this is their first two 45s, though, legitimately came out on the Anko label in late 57 and 58. Then their final release came out on the Elmont label in July 58. So this had to be recorded sometime in that 1958 area there, but this is we'll call it I guess we can't call it a boot, could we? Maybe off of an acetate, I don't know, but it features Dave Fisher on lead, and it's a nice tune. This is going out to Ryan Heisey, 1958. Elmont should have released this. These are the Academics on the Anko label. It's called I Often Wonder. This is for Ryan.
Wonder, 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 wonder. I often wondered. I often wonder, if you really love me, if you're thinking of me. So blue, I often wonder if I made you blue, dear, and if this is true, dear, I'll never see you again. Sincere, but I guess I'll go on, and I'm through life only wishing you were here. I wonder if I made you blue, dear, and if this is true, dear, I'll never see you again. Wonder, I'll never see you again.
Those are the Academics. Academics by request for Ryan Heisey. That is an it was never released until what did I say, 1989, when Joey Giattino, May 89, when Joey Giattino and Kenny Fuchs put it out on, I guess we'll call it the Anko record label. I Often Wonder is the name of the tune. Let's continue now. We are in 1958, and this is a request for listener Emnon. This group is out of Los Angeles, California, and they were good friends with Jesse Belvin, who persuaded them to form a group, and Belvin rehearsed them and brought them over to his current label at the time, an A&R man, Shorty Rogers, who signed them to the RCA label, and all their songs were written by Jesse Belvin and his wife Joanne Belvin, and Jesse even sang top tenor even though he wasn't really part of the group. Now, Emnon requested their first of two for RCA Records. This features Benny Easley on lead. This is from July 58. They're called The Chargers. The Chargers on the RCA label. This is for Emnon. It's called Dandelion.
Wow. Oh, my darling dandelion, won't you be mine? Tell me that you love me till the end of time. You possess the charm that makes me wanna hold you in my arms. Whoa, whoa, whoa. My dandelion. Wow. Looked at you and then I knew I loved you so. Nothing I could do. My heart was all aglow. This is love, it can't be wrong. It's wonderful, so I want it all to be known. Whoa, whoa, whoa. My dandelion.
That's going out to Emnon there. Those are the Chargers. Dandelion. I said dandelion. That's because I see them in my backyard, but that's Dandelion. That's their first of two on the RCA record label. July 58, Benny Easley, the lead singer on that one. We stay in 1958 as we go to the Bay Area of California, and this is a request for listener George Tompkins, a rare 45 on the Kappa Rex Inc. label out of Berkeley, California, for this group known as the El Domingos. Now, here is the George requested the intended B-side. Now, I cannot find the first name of the lead singer. I only know his last name. His last name is Young, but I can't find the first name. Now, Opal Nations has an article about the Sputniks, but it says the Sputniks are associated with this group, I think later, though. I don't know, but it does not say, though, that they became this group. They just maybe later joined, or some members joined the Sputniks on the Class label. But but one member of this group, Curtis Stanton, he did join. Well, but one member of that group, the Sputniks, is a member of this group, the El Domingos. So I think that's the relation here. But anyway, it's still a great two-sided 45. This is from April 58. This is going out to George Tompkins, the El Domingos on the Kappa Rex label. It's called Evening Bells.
Evening bells sing a song so gay, and someday you see they remind me of you.
Remind me of you.
One night last June, when I found you, that's when I know
You were the only one.
Someday you know, yeah, they remind me of you.
Those whoops out of the Bay Area there. Those are the El Domingos. El Domingos, the lead singer, his last name is Young. Because if you look at the label, you'll see Vocal Young. The flip side, though, it gives, I forget his name, but it is mentioned in that Opal Nations article if you check it out. April 58, the El Domingos on the Kappa Rex label, Evening Bells is the name of the tune. We move into 1959 now, and on the June 22nd, 2022 Vinyl Treasure Show, I played a request for Timothy by this Bronx, New York girl group. You all know them. They're called the Chantels. It's on George Goldner's N record label. It was their 8th of 12th. It was called Goodbye to Love. Now, Timothy requested the flip side this week, and it's an old standard done by so many groups, but first recorded back in 1930. But this one came out in May 1959. This is the flip side of Goodbye to Love. Maybe this was the A side. I don't know, but it features the great Arlene Smith on lead. This is going out to Timothy, the Chantels, from May 59 on the N label. It's called I'm Confessing That I Love You. This is for Timothy.
Tell me, do you love me?
I rarely get caught. Sterling's going to yell at me. I got caught. Sorry, folks. Let me just, this isn't real radio. Yes, it is. Anyway, there you go. That's, excuse me. There you go. That's going out to Timothy in our YouTube chat room. The lovely Arlene Smith and the Chantels there with their rendition of the tune "I'm Confessing That I Love You," and that one there, George Goldner's, excuse me, End record label from May 1959. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes tonight. Those of you tuned into the Vinyl Treasure Show, tell your friends about it. We need to spread the word to share the video, and also please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you get notifications. If you want to send me requests, Charlene is taking them in the chat room, and sometimes they drive her crazy a little bit, so they have to be clear. But you can send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. If I have the 45, I'll play it. I'm putting together some 78s. Going to do a 78 show one of these days, but I'm still catching up. I just retired, folks, so it's catching up for 30 years of stuff I haven't done. But it's taken me a while here. I need some elves to help me. Let's continue now. And we go to another request, this time for a listener, Joe Shacatano, in our YouTube chat room. This group is out of New York City. They have this lone release on Jack Gold's Climax label. Now, the lead singer on this, his name is Mike Caminiti. Mike Caminiti, who previously sang lead with a group called the Seatones that recorded for the Everlast label. They had a 1957 release called On Your Mark. But Mike Caminiti is on lead here with a group called The Dawns, D-A-W-N-S. This came out in July of 59. The Dawns on the Climax record label. It's called Why Did You Let Me Love You? This is for Joe.
Why did you let me tell you all about your charms? Why did you let me hold you close in my arms? Now without warning, you say we're through. Please tell me what did I do? Oh, why did you let me kiss you? Kiss you tenderly. Why did you let me love you? Don't say it's over.
That's going out to Joe Shacatano there. Those are the Dawns on the Climax record label. Mike Caminiti, the lead singer on that, July 1959, Why Did You Let Me Love You is the name of the tune. Let's continue now. We are in 1959, and here is a request for my number one Arizona listener, he wants to be known as. That's Stephen Cargman, as this next singer, he's from the Bronx, New York. Believe it or not, I just picked this record up. I have multiple copies of this 45, so I went to my high school friend is up from Florida, so he wanted to have dinner. I said, lunch on Hastings on Hudson. I said, well, there's a record store there. So we went to Maud's Tavern in Hastings on Hudson, and I said, well, let's walk up to the record store. I mean, I doubt I'll find 45s, but I ended up buying 30 45s for $10. I mean, I was looking for soul records, but it turned out that it was a mixture of stuff, and I took a chance on it. But there were some nice things in there, and they were in nice shape, and this is one of the records that was in there. So right there, I guess it's worth the $10. Anyway, but this is a request for Stephen Cargman. This singer's from the Bronx, New York, and this was his debut single, came out on Joe Carlton's Guaranteed label. Now, he's being backed up by a group called the Paramounts. Now, this Paramounts group would have their own release in 1960 on Carlton called Trying. But here they are backing up 15-year-old Ralph DeMarco. And this is actually the better side. The other side, the flip side, Old Shep, I don't like that side, but this side is actually pretty cool, I think. So this is going out to Stephen Cargman, October 59, Ralph DeMarco and the uncredited Paramounts on Guaranteed. It's called More Than Riches.
$1 million in love, brand new car, could not replace you, darling, not by far, 'cause you mean more than riches to me. $1 billion worth of precious stone, I would give up if you would come back home, 'cause you mean more than riches to me. If all these things I should ever possess, they couldn't bring me happiness. All I want is a girl like you to come back and start anew. $1 million in love, brand new car, could not replace you, darling, not by far, 'cause you mean more than riches to me. If all these things I should ever possess, they couldn't bring me happiness. All I want is a girl like you to come back and start anew. $1 billion worth of precious money, I would give up if you would come back home, 'cause you mean more than riches to me.
There you go. That one there going out to Steve Cargman. Steve, I lost my place here. There you go. Steve Cargman listening in Arizona there. Ralph DeMarco and the uncredited Paramounts there, October 59 on the Guaranteed record label, More Than Riches. Now, the A-side was called Old Shep. I don't like that song. It was number 91 on Billboard, number 9. And that Old Shep record was played here in New York City on WMGM in New York City. And he has two more, I think, one on Shelley and also one on 20th Century. Anyway, let's continue here. We are in 1959. Here's a request for George Tompkins. Now, the lead singer of this group, was also a talented songwriter. He wrote some hits like Tonight, Tonight for the Mellow Kings, All My Love for Jackie Wilson, and a song that he had a big hit with called The Joker was a hit in 1957 on Ember for the lead singer of this group, as well as he wrote this song for his group called The Five Bells. And I'm talking about Billy Miles. Billy Miles is the lead singer on this tune. This group is called The Five Bells. This is on the Clock label. This one in from December 59, The Five Bells on Clock with Billy Miles on lead, going out to George Tompkins. It's called My Pledge to You.
To love you always,
To love you always,
with all of my heart,
with all of my heart,
always and always,
always and always,
and never to part,
and never to part.
darling, my darling,
Darling, my darling,
to you I'd give all,
to you I'd give all,
to spend a lifetime,
to spend a lifetime
at your beck and call,
at your beck and call,
to bring some laughter, where once there was pain, to sprinkle some sunshine, where once there was rain, to make you happy, with all that I do,
all that I do.
This, oh my darling,
This, oh my darling,
is my pledge to you.
this is my pledge to you.
Oh my darling, oh my darling, oh my darling.
This is my pledge to you.
December 1959 release there for The Five Bells. The Five Bells, Billy Miles. Billy Miles of the Joker fame, the lead singer on that. He wrote the tune My Pledge to You. That's on the Clock label. That's going out to George Tompkins. Now, in October 1961, this record was re-released on the Clock label, but with a Mercury number as the Belltones. So you can get that one on the second press by the Belltones. I have them both. You know, Johnny G is a completist. Yes, I am. As we continue here, we move into 1960 now. Let's go back to Detroit, Michigan. This is a request for Steve Cargman, my number one Arizona listener, and it's the last release on Devorah Brown's Fortune label by the $5. This tune written by the bass of the group. His name is Charles Evans. It features Eddie Hurt on lead by request for Steve in Arizona, mid-1960 release for the $5 on Fortune. The song is called That's the Way It Goes. This is for Steve.
Do-wop, do-wop.
have to fall for you. But that's the way it goes. I know you feel the same. I can tell when I call your name, and you can't hide that you're away. But that's the way it goes. At first, I didn't like you, and you didn't like me. So take a look at us now. We're so full of love, we don't know what to do. I'll never understand. Why do I feel the way that I do? Why did I have to fall for you? But that's the way it goes.
As by request for Steve Cargman there, the $5, Eddie Hurton, the $5. 1960 release on the Fortune record label. That one's on the maroon Fortune. Lots of different colors on the Fortune label. One that plays fairly well. The $5 there with That's the Way It Goes. You tuned into the Vinyl Treasure Show. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes. Tell your friends about it. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you have a request, you can contact me at Vinyl Treasures at AOL.com. We are in the year 1960. We count down the music chronologically here. We began way back in 1952. We are now in 1960. As we go back to Los Angeles, California, this time with a request for Rick and Philly, as this group formed while attending Fremont High School in Los Angeles, first recording as The Miracles on the Cash label in 1955. Then they signed with Bob Ross's Ardell Records. First they backed up Patty Ross on a release on Ardell. Then they would record their signature song in October 1956. I know you know that tune. It's called The Way You Look Tonight. But they left Ardell in 1957 and had releases on Ebb and Original Sound, and with the early 60s resurgence in the music, Ardell re-released The Way You Look Tonight on Bob Ross's Ardell record label, and then continued to put out Old Masters on Ardell Records. So he continued with it, and this song was actually recorded back in 1956, but it was released in July of 1960, and it's a request for Rick and Philly. These are the Jaguars on Ardell. It's called Don't Go Home. This is for Rick.
Gee, I didn't know it was so late. I'd better go home now. Go home.
It's too nice here. It's paradise here. Don't go away. Please, please stay. Don't you
Jazz by request for Rick in Philly. Those are the Jaguars. The Jaguars with a July 1960 release on the Ardell record label. Don't Go Home. Don't Go Home is the name of the tune. John G. Not going home, not yet. As we continue here, here's a request for listener Kenny Mack. Now, in late 1958, after the Dubs' release of Chapel of Dreams, the group would break up. Lead singer Richard Blandon would join the Vocaliers, and they would sign with Old Town Records for one release. Then Blandon left that group to reform another Dubs group, including James Miller, Tommy Great, and Billy Carlisle, and Cordell Brown. They signed with ABC Paramount Records for 5 releases. Now, Kenny requested their second release, and it features Richard Blandon on lead. This was a big number 2 record on WILM in Wilmington, Delaware. We go back to March 1960 for the Dubs. Richard Blandon and the Dubs. This is for Kenny Mack on ABC Paramount Records. It's called Don't Laugh at Me.
Don't laugh at me. This could happen to you. Don't laugh, you see. That's why I'm so blue. Don't laugh like a clown, for this is for real. Don't laugh so loud, or you'll surely pay the bill. I was too high on a cloud to see just what you meant to me. But a cloud of dreams cannot live, and someday that cloud must give. Don't laugh at me. This could happen to you. Don't laugh, you see. That's why I'm so blue. You're laughing. Ha 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 ha.
That's the great sound of Richard Blandon and the Dubs by request for Kenny Mack. March 1960 release. That's their second release. Came out on the ABC Paramount record label. Don't Laugh at Me, their second of 5 for ABC Records. Let's continue now. And we are in 1960. Here's a request for my number 1 California listener. That be Matey Campboy, for this group that formed while attending Garfield High School in Seattle, Washington. They first recorded for the local Night Owl label, but then they signed with Bob Keene's Donna record label and Donna Delphi label to release Lonely Guy in February 1960. Then, Lonely... Wait, what did I do here? Mess that up. Totally messed that up. Lonely Guy was their first release on the Donna Delphi record label. This was their second release on the Delphi label, a song that Matey requested. It features Jimmy Pipkin on lead. This charted number 21 on WOKY in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, as we go back to September 1960 for Jimmy Pipkin and the Galahads on the Delphi label. And it's called I'm Without a girlfriend. This is for Matey.
Tell my troubles to I'm without a girl. I'm so all alone and without a girl, I'm so alone and so I'm without a girlfriend. Wish I had a girlfriend. Miss my little girlfriend. I'm without a
That's going out to Matey Campoy, the Galahads, Jimmy Pipkin and the Galahads. Their follow-up to Lonely Guy, song entitled I'm Without a Girlfriend, came out on Bob Keene's Delphi record label from September 1960. We stay in 1960 with a request for listener Timothy for this group out of Lexington, Kentucky. This quintet of 2 gals and 3 guys were attending Paul Lawrence Dunbar and Frederick Douglass High Schools. They consisted of the lead singer, her name is Bonnie Johnson, Mary Evans, Robert Taylor, George Ronnie West, and Charles Barber Jr. Collectively, they were known as Bonnie and Little Boys Blue. Now, this one came out on Tom Birch's Nyko record label, a very rare 45, folks. And Tom Birch co-wrote the song along with group members Ronnie West and the lead singer Bonnie Johnson. We go back to April 1960. This is going out to Timothy, Bonnie and Little Boys Blue on the Nyko label. It's called You'd Better Run.
Boom, 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 boom.
You better run before it's too late. My love just won't wait. You better run. You better run as fast as you can. I
April 1960 release there on Tom Birch's Nyko record label. Bonnie and Little Boys Blue. Doesn't say the. Bonnie and Little Boys Blue. Bonnie Johnson, the lead singer there. That's the intended B-side, song entitled You'd Better Run. That's going out to Timothy, a very rare 45. How'd you know that record, Timothy? Anyway, let's continue here. We are moving to 61 now as we go to Brooklyn, New York with a request for Jerry Nazin for the Paragons. Now, if they first recording with Paul Winley's Winley label, and all the great songs with Julius McMichael as the lead. But in 1960, there were a bunch of personnel changes. They left Winley and they signed with a label owner, Andy Leonetti, and he had releases on Music Craft and the Tap labels. And they also had a brand new lead singer. His name was Alan Moore, and this was their first of 3 they recorded on the Tap label. This charted number 79 on WIBG in Philadelphia. This is going out to Jerry Naz in April 1961. The Paragons with Alan Moore on lead on the Tap label, their rendition of the tune If Those are the Paragons. The Paragons with Alan Moore on lead. A song entitled If by request for Jerry Nazin, April 1961. That came out on the Tap label, their first of 3 for Tap Records. Let's stay in 61 with a request for Rick in Philly in our YouTube chat room. And on last week's Vinyl Treasure Show, I played a request for Timothy by the Calvains from 1958. The song was called My Love Song. That group included Bobby Adams, Stuart Crunk, Freddie Willis, and lead singer Herman Pruitt. But in 1961, Freddie Willis was drafted and replaced by Sidney Dunbar, and the group changed their name to the Nuggets, and they signed with RCA Records for 2 releases. Now, Rick requested their first of two that features Sidney Dunbar on lead. So this is by request for Rick and Philly. These are the Nuggets from August 61 on RCA. The song is called Before We Say Goodnight. This is for Rick. Mess up.
Good night, good night, good night. Good night, good night, good night. Before we say good night, my darling, tell me everything's right. Those angry words that awful fight before we say good night. Good night. Before you close the door, say you're not angry anymore. Our love will go on forevermore. Tell me before we say good night. Good night, good night. I just couldn't go and leave you this way after that scene tonight. I couldn't sleep away, wouldn't sleep away throughout this long and endless night. Before we say goodnight, my darling, tell me everything's right, and our tomorrows will be sunny and bright. Tell me before we say goodnight. Good night, good night, good night. Good night, good night, good night. Good night, good night.
As going out to Rick and Philly, those are the Nuggets. Sidney Dunbar on lead, the Nuggets. Their first of two on the RCA record label from August 61, Before We Say Goodnight. And it's not good night yet. Actually, we're doing pretty well here. Johnny's going to run out of records. I never run out of records. But let's continue here. And here's a request for Nick Nicola. You all know this group from Brooklyn, New York. Their biggest hit was in 1958 on the Mercury label. It was called One Summer Night. That was their debut single. But after their fourth single on Mercury, the label dropped them. They dropped them and the group dissolved. Then in 1960, lead singer Jimmy Weston teamed up with three members of a group called The Webbs that Danny Webb was managing, that recorded for MGM Records, and a new Dan Lear's group was created. They had two singles on the Epic label, and this release that came out on the Everest label, that is a request for Nick Nicola, written by their manager, Danny Webb. This is from July 1961. Jimmy Weston, the lead singer on this. These are the Dan Lears, going out to Nick Nicola. It's called Foolish.
A clever guy I'm supposed to be, but love came and blinded me. So as long as there's love, it's you I'll be thinking of. Foolish, they call me, and foolish I'll always be. For just like a moon sometimes why. Ooh, for one sweet hello from you makes my foolish dreams come true. Now there are depths of love that I may never know, for life must come and go. But there are heights of joy that I will surely see if you keep loving me. So foolish they call me, and foolish I'll always be. For as sure as stars above, this feeling has to be love.
As Jimmy Weston and the Dan Lears going out to Nick Nicola, July 61 release on the Everest record label, song entitled Foolish. They would have, I think, later releases follow up on Smash and also the Le Mans record label. As we move along here in 1961, let's go to the Bronx, New York for this next quartet. This is a request for listener Emnon. They recorded for Vinnie Catalano and Don Ames's Whale label. This is their second release for the Whale label. It's a cover of a Harptones 1954 release, and it features Louis Donnie Bergio on lead, and this charted number 79 on Billboard, number 70 on WIBG in Philadelphia, PA. We go to July 61. This is for Emnon, Donnie and the Dreamers on the Whale label, doing the Harptones tune, My Memories of You, for Emnon.
Please give me more than just memories of. All I have to keep me is my memories of you. I sit alone at night and wonder what did I do. I've lost you, it's true, but I still have my memories of you. Memories of you. I gave you everything, and still you ask me for more. I guess I'm just a fool who didn't realize the score. Won't you give me more than just memories of you? Tell me what I've done, tell me what I've said. I guess I use my heart instead of using my head. Knowing that I love you, how could you break my heart? Can't stand it any longer, wondering why we're apart. Please give me more than just memories of you. Tell me what I've done, tell me what I've said. I guess I use my heart instead of using my head. Knowing that I love you, how could you break my heart? Can't stand it any longer, wondering why we're apart. Please give me more than just memories of you. Memories of you.
July 61 release there for Amnon, Donnie and the Dreamers, Louis Donnie Bergio, the lead singer on that one on the Whale label, My Memories of You. That's the Harptones tune. Now, they would have another release on Whale as Kenny and the Whalers, and they had one more release, Donnie and the Dreamers, on the Decca record label. Let's continue now. We stay in 61 with a girl group sound and a request for Rick in Philly. Not much known about this girl group. They're known as the Petites, not to be confused with the Petites, a family group from up in Chicago that recorded for Spinning. This is a different group. This is on Morty Craft's Elmore record label. This is a cover tune. This song originally done by the Moonglows in 1957, although they don't give Moonglows credit on this because the true writers of this were Harvey Fuqua and Bobby Lester, but not on this. This is from December 61, going out to Rick in Philly. These are the Petites. The Petites on the Elmore record label, as I'm losing my voice. It's called The Beating of My Heart for Rick in Philly.
The beating of my heart says I know we'll never part. It beats louder and louder and louder and louder, the beating of my heart. Whoa, 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 the trembling in my soul says I know we'll never grow cold. It gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, the beating of my heart. I lie awake at night, dreaming of love so true. But I gave my heart to you, my dear. So what am I to do? Whoa, 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 the beating of my heart says I'll know we'll never part. It beats louder and louder and louder and louder, the beating of my heart. It beats louder and louder and louder and louder, the beating of my heart.
Cover tunes here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the Petites. Petites by request for Rick in Philly, December 61 release on the Elmore record label, The Beating of My Heart, done by the Moonglows back in 1957. And up next is a request for Ryan Heisey, who is back in our YouTube chat room. Now, it's the debut single for this group from Long Island. They had two releases on the Music Maker label. Now, Ryan requested the B-side to their first. It features Frank Mancuso on lead. As we go back to April 1961, give a listen to The Imaginations. The Imaginations on the Music Maker label. It's called The Search Is Over. This is for Ryan.
The search is over.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That one there by request for Ryan Heisey, The Imaginations, Frank Mancuso and The Imaginations, April 61 on the Music Makers record label. Song entitled The Search Is Over. Now, the A-side of this, a song entitled Hey You, was played here in New York City. This group also backed up Darlene Day that recorded for the Music Maker label. And Hey You also was released on another label, Dual Records. So some of you may own it on the Dual label. They had another release on the Ballad label and one on Parkway back in '63 as The Expressions. As we move into 1962 now with a flip side from last week, as I played a request for listener Timothy on the Larkwood label out of Nashville, Tennessee by Rosemary and the Rosebuds. The song was called What Do I Mean to You? And it was listeners Nick Nicola and George Tompkins. They asked Johnny G to play the flip side. So let's flip it over now from September 62, Rosemary and the Rosebuds. That's all I know. And this is for Nick and George. It's called Dream Time. That's going out to George and Nick. That's Rosemary. Whoops. Rosemary and the Rosebuds there. That's on the Larkwood label out of Nashville, Tennessee. September 62. Dreamtime is the name of the tune. We are in 1962 now. Last week I played a request for Emnon by the Corvells, a group out of Philadelphia. Came out on ABC Paramount. It was called Daisy. Now the A-side, that was a ballad, Daisy. The A-side is an up-tempo written by Billy Jackson and the lead singer William Vaughn. This charted number 72 on KAYO in Seattle, Washington. This one from April 1962. Give a listen to the Corvells on ABC Paramount. It's called Take My Love. As Johnny's flip side that I decided to play, the Corvells there, April 1962 on the ABC Paramount record label, Take My Love. Now, the lead singer there, William Billy Vaughn, would change his surname to Abbott to avoid being mistaken for the instrumental Billy Vaughn and his orchestra that recorded for the Dot record label. And with his next release, he would record as Billy Abbott and the Jewels on the Parkway record label. But stay tuned for that thing, as I'm trying to connect to, oh, there we go, as we welcome in the Oldies and More Radio Network here to Johnny G's Vinyl Treasure Show, spinning original vinyl 45s every Saturday from 9 to midnight, but we do overtime here on Oldies and More Radio. So we just heard the Corvells from 1962 on ABC Paramount. It was called Take My Love. We continue here with a request for Joe Shacatano. This group is out of Knoxville, Tennessee. They formed while attending Knoxville West High School, and they consisted of 9 members. They were signed to the local Vision label. They had 2 releases. Joe requested their second. It features Lowell D. Kirby on lead here. Go to February 62. These are the Blenders on the Vision label. This is for Joe Shacatano. It's called There'll Be a Tear in Your Eye. The Blenders for Joe.
There'll be a tear in your eyes when you say goodbye. You'll turn your head and look away in deep regret. And your heart, it will break. Your memories you take. You'll bow your head and say goodbye forevermore. Evermore. To the boy, yes, to the girl, as they say goodbye, goodbye. We wish you luck in all that you do, and hold your head up high, but your heart, it will break. Your memories you take. You'll bow your head and say goodbye forevermore.
That's going out to Joe Shacatano. They're from February 62. They're called the Blenders on the Vision record label. That's their second release. There'll Be a Tear in Your Eye. That's Lowell D. Kirby on lead. I had to look for that record. I wasn't sure I had it. It wasn't a lot of the records. There was a time span about 12 years I was buying records from Spence Wooten that I never checked them off that I owned in that Ken Klee book. So, sometimes when I got a pretty good photographic memory, I do. But I said, well, wait a minute, that record looks familiar. And I did see it in there, but I thought it was the other one. It wasn't the one but it turned out to be the one that Joe requested. Anyway, there we go. Let's continue here. We go to Brooklyn, New York with a request for my number one California listener, Matey Campboy. This group signed with Belltone Records in '61. The Belltone Records is out of New York City, and they had releases between 1961 and 1963, 8 releases in all. Now, Matey requested their third for Belltone. It was their follow-up to Never Never. The A-side was called Hully Gully Calling Time, that I first heard on a Roulette LP, first, but I never heard the flip side until I got the 45. Now, Matey requested the flip, co-written by the lead singer. His name is Eugene Pitt. This was a number one record on WCOL in Columbus, Ohio. So this is from February 62. This is going out to Matey, the great Jive 5. Eugene Pitt and the Jive 5 on the Belltone label. It's called No, Not Again for Matey.
Oh, no, not again, not again, not again. Not again, not again, not again.
Oh no, not again. You left me once before, but you promised never again. And there you go once more. Twice you broke my heart. Oh no, not again.
Not again, not again, not again. Not again, not again, not again.
Oh no, not again. You tell me we are through, but if you leave me now, I'll find somebody new. I don't want to be hurt. Oh no, not again.
Not again, not again.
The first time you were sorry, I answered to your call. But it's the same old story. You haven't changed at all. Oh,
Not again, not again, not again. Not again, not again, not again.
oh no, not again. For this must be the end. For I was a fool, dear, to be more than a friend. I can't take your teasing. Oh no, not again.
Not again, not again, not again. Not again, not again, not again.
That's the Jive 5 going out to Matey Campboy, February 62 release on Belltone Records. No, Not Again is the name of the tune, and the releases followed after Belltone on Sketch, United Artists, and also other labels too, Veep and other labels that they recorded on, the Decca Records, other labels. As we continue, here we are in Vinyltreasure Overtime. Let's go to Waltham, Massachusetts for this next request. It's for Ryan Heisey. Not much known about this group, but they're called the Five Gents, and not related to the Five Gents that recorded on the Crest label. This is on a label called Viking. Viking Records. And this is from January 62. I thought it was earlier, but it's January 62. This is for Ryan Heisey, the Five Gents on Viking. It's called Baby Doll.
Baby doll, I love you so.
January 62 release for the Five Gents. That's going out to Ryan Heisey. Baby Doll, the name of the tune, came out on the Viking record label. Let's move into 1963 with this request for Nick Nicola. The group is called The Mystics, not to be confused with the group out of Brooklyn, New York, that recorded for the Laurie record label. This group is out of Cincinnati, Ohio. It included Claude Johnson, Leroy Morris, Don Thomas, and Melvin Thomas. This is their second of two on the King label, Sid Nathan's King record label, here from April 63. These are the Mystics, going out to Nick Nicola. It's called Just For Your Love, parentheses, I Would Do Anything. This is on King Records.
Just for your love, I would do anything. Just for your love, just for your love, I would go anywhere. Lord, touch my burning light. La la la, la 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 la. Oh.
Those are the Mystics there. The Mystics out of Cincinnati, Ohio. That's going out to Nick Nicola there. Just for Your Love, I Would Do Anything. That's their second release on King Records from April 1963. Let's go to Brooklyn, New York now with a request for Jerry Nason. This group called the Cupids. They had a New York hit called Brenda in 1963. First on the Anko label, also came out on Nat King Cole's KC label, but the group dissolved because of the untimely death of their lead singer, Lenny Colton, who accidentally died from carbon monoxide poisoning. But despite his death, they recruited a new lead singer by the name of Henry Jensen, and they had this release on Andy Leonetti's Music Note record label. It's a cover of the Bonneville song and a request for Jerry Nason. We go back to October 1963 for the Cupids with their new lead, Henry Jensen, replaced the deceased singer Lenny Colton. This is on Music Note Records. The song is called Lorraine. This is for Jerry.
Seated so close to you on a crowded subway car, afraid to touch your hand, you seem so very far. Just for now I'll call you my Lorraine. The train comes to a stop, you get up and you leave. I like the way you walk, you move with ease. Don't even know your name, just for now I'll call you my Lorraine. Well, your hair is like the sun by day. Well, your eyes are like the moon by night. Well, I don't even know your name, but just for now I'll call you my Lorraine. Well, I dream of you every night. Oh, I dreamt I was holding you tight. Don't even know your name, just for now I'll call you my Lorraine. Just for now I'll call you my Lorraine.
Cover tunes here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the Cupids. The Cupids from October 63 going out to Jerry Nason, their rendition of the Bonneville's tune, Lorraine. That one there came out on the Music Note record label. Only a few more 45s to go here. 1, 2, 3, 5 more records to go. Then we're going to close down the Vinyl Treasure Show. We head to Philadelphia now with a request for Matey Campboy. Earlier in the show, I featured the Corvells on the ABC Paramount record label with a song called Take My Love. The previous week, Amnon's request called Daisy. The lead singer on that was Billy Vaughn. So listeners would not confuse him with the band leader of the same name that recorded for Dot. He would change his name to Billy Abbott, and this was his next release on the Parkway record label as Billy Abbott and the Jewels. This was number 66 on Cashbox, 55 on Billboard, a number 2 record on WALE in Fall River, Massachusetts. We go to May 63. This is for Matey Campboy, Billy Abbott and the Jewels on the Parkway label. It's called Groovy Baby.
Once I had a love, groovy baby. She was my only love, groovy baby. But now she's gone, and I'm so blue. Groovy baby. She was 17, groovy baby. She was my teenage queen, groovy baby. Why did she go away and leave me blue? Somewhere in this world there's a guy making love to my girl. Wonder, does he know she was mine not so long ago? Once I had a love, groovy baby. She was my only love, groovy baby. I'll take her back again if she'll be true. She'll be true, groovy baby. Once I had a love, groovy baby. Once I had a love.
That's going out to Matey Campboy there, Billy Abbott and the Jewels, May 63 release on the Parkway record label. Groovy Baby is the name of that tune. Let's go to Chicago now. We are in 1963. For this next group, it's the flip side I played from last week. For listener Emnon, he requested the Swinging Hearts on Lenny LaCour's 620 label. The song was called Spanish Love, and Nick Nicole and George Tompkins asked for the flip side, and the group recorded for Lenny LaCour's Lucky 4 label first in 1961, and the 45 I played last week was their second release on Lucky 4. I have it on 620. And I think it was reissued one more time out on the NRM label. I think that's out of Pittsburgh. But let's give a listen to the B-side here. We're going to send it out to George and Nick. It features Morris Spearman on lead. We go back to December 63. These are the Swinging Hearts on 620 Records. That's how I have it. It's called How Can I Love You, for Nick and for George.
You said that you love me. Now you say that we're through. You said that you need me. Now there's someone new. How can I love you? How can I know that you'll be true? I've tried so
kept right on trying. How can I love you? How can I know that you'll be true? How can I know, that you'll be true?
That's a great ballad there. That's by request for Nick Nicola and George Tompkins, The Swingin' Hearts, Morris Spearman and The Swingin' Hearts, December 63. I have it on 620 Records. How Can I Love You is the name of the tune. 3 more 45s to go before we sign off here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Let's go to Stamford, Connecticut with this next request for Rick in Philly. The members were John Hickey, Bert Person, Tony Rizzi, Ron Russo, and Louis Cielo. Collectively, they were known as the Fabulons. They first recorded for the Ember label in December of 1960. They followed it up with this release from 1963. This song written by Richard Blandon's brother, Curtis Blandon, produced by Ben Archila, I guess, this is going out to Rick in Philly, April 63, the Fabulons. I have it on the Benson Ritco label. I also have it on the Blue Benson label. This is the first, I think. The Fabulons. The song is called This Is the End. This is for Rick. As by request for Rick in Philly, the Fabulons there. The Fabulons from April 1963. That's on the Benson Ritco record label. That's how I have it. This Is the End is the name of the tune. And Rick mentioned it in the YouTube chat. This group would later record as the Gleams, or later on in the year 63, November 63, on the Parkway record label. You're the One and Sandra Baby. Another great two-sided 45. Two more 45s to go before we sign off here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. And last week I featured the Harps on the Laurie record label. They were from the Coney Island section of Brooklyn, New York, as a request for Jerry Nason. The song was called Daddy's Going Away. It was Darrell Letts that requested the flip side of the 45. This tune written by Ernie Maresca. Ernie Maresca wrote this tune. It features David Nichols on lead. We go to March 64 for the Harps. The Harps on the Laurie label. The song is called Marie. This is for Darrell. That's going out to Darrell Letts. Darrell Letts said those are the Harps. That's the intended A-side from March 1964. That's on the Laurie record label. Song entitled Marie features David Nichols on lead. That's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. I want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to cool original 45s out of my collection. If you want to get in touch with me, you can send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. You can shoot me your requests. You can shoot me your thoughts about the show. The DJs love to get email from the listeners. It's very important. Shows you that you like the show and you enjoy what Johnny G is doing. So that's the real thing. So thank you all for tuning in this evening and listening to all these cool 45s, especially your requests. Excellent requests that I've been getting from the listeners. And I really appreciate all your correspondence and for tuning in and listening to the show. That is a big, big thing for Johnny G, even though it doesn't show how much I enjoy playing my records, because this is really the only time I get to listen to the records. I was even worse when I was working. At least I can do a little bit more testing now. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in tonight. And if you missed any of the show, it should be up on YouTube instantaneously. I didn't see any any copyright issues tonight like I do on my Monday night show with the 1960s records. But that's maybe a good thing. Maybe it'll post up pretty quick. Who knows? But if it doesn't ever post up on YouTube, you can always go to vinyltreasures.net, because you can listen to the stream, or you can download the show there for your own keeping, whatever you'd like to do. But thank you all for tuning in tonight. We're going to close the show tonight with a request for Matey Campboy, and it's a late release. This record released in June of 1968. The group is out of San Antonio, Texas, and as I mentioned, June 68 release. It came out on the local Clown, C-L-O-W-N, Clown label, and it's a cover song. This song was first recorded by Pookie Hudson on the Double L label in April of 1963, and this is a nice version by a group called the Royal Jesters. It features Louis Escalante on lead, and this is for my number one California listener, Matey Campboy. June 68, the Royal Jesters on Clown. It's called I Know, I Know. That's the closer for tonight. Johnny G knows I'll be back next Saturday night beginning at 9 o'clock, 9 to midnight, right here on YouTube, and also on Oldies and More Radio beginning at midnight. And I have a Monday night show starting at 8 o'clock, 8 to 11 o'clock on Oldies and More. That's my all 60s show. Feature mostly soul records on that show, so if you love soul, you want to tune into that show. Well, that's going to do it, folks. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. I'll see you either next Saturday night or I'll see you Monday night for more cool 45s out of Johnny G's collection. Just want to say, everybody, so long for Matey.
I know, this love will last for years, and darling, I know that you were meant for me. When I put the ring on your finger, you said you'd be my wife. Then you said you'd marry me and love me for the rest of my life. Oh, darling, I know that love will last for years, and darling, I know that you were meant for me. This is love I feel. Deep in my heart, there was a time I know that I knew